Yes, good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good
Good
evening.
evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So, how's everyone? Good?
All good, sir.
Right, great. So, guys, we were discussing about our element 8 in our yesterday's session, and we started with discussing about general requirement of welfare facilities, work environment. We discussed about extreme hot temperature, extreme cold temperature, and general requirements of lighting. And then we started discussing about working at height. What is working at height? What are the risks? What are the factors that will increase the risk of working at height? And the control measures that we can implement to minimize the risk. So, in our today's session, we are going to discuss about the hazards and controls associated with access equipment, confined space, lone working hazards and controls. And we are also going to discuss about slips, trips, falls, housekeeping requirements, and hazards to pedestrians specifically, hazards related to vehicle operations, and work related driving. So these are the topics that we are going to cover in our today's session. So access equipment, we have ladders, you have step ladders, you have scaffolding, mobile tower scaffolding, and MEWP. And the most common, we'll start with this, which is ladder. So ladder is generally used for short duration work or a temporary work. So when you are working with any access equipment, so there are two common hazards which we already discussed yesterday, which is people falling from height or materials
Objects.
falling from height. Okay. Or some of the hazards are falls from heights, people or material falling off the ladder. The ladder itself might topple over here. The ladder base slipping out. If you're not placing the ladder at a proper angle, then the ladder might slip out. Or if you are placing the ladder on an uneven surface or a slippery floor, so the ladder base will slip and could result in people falling, or objects falling from height, or contact with overhead power cables. Uh, Particularly in high-rise building constructions, when you are using ladders, there is a possibility that the workers might come into contact with overhead power cables, which might carry up to from 50,000 volts to more than 1,000 volts. So that could result in fatality as well. A worker getting killed when coming into contact with overhead cables. So while coming to the precautionary measures, what controls we can take is, first of all, select the ladder which is suitable for the job. Make sure that is in good condition. Inspection of the ladder before use. Placing the ladder on a flat surface or uneven surface.
Flat surface, sir.
Flat surface.
Flat surface. Securing the ladder from the bottom. Securing the ladder from the bottom. If you cannot secure, at least appoint a person who can hold the ladder from the bottom. That is one thing. And always maintain a 75 degrees angle of the ladder. If you are unsure about the angle, simply 1:4 ratio should be maintained. Means if this is 4 meters, then this should be 1 meter. If this is 8 meters, this should be 2 meters. If this is 12 meters, this should be 3 meters. That is called as 1:4 ratio, or you can maintain a 75 degrees angle. Okay. And whenever you are climbing the ladder, make sure there is a 3-point contact. 1, 2, 3. Two hands, one leg, or two legs, one hand. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Two hands and one leg. Mainly, this contact should be maintained. Hands on stiles. So hands should always be on stiles, never on rungs. Because these horizontal tubes, so this one second. Yeah. So these vertical are called as stiles, and these horizontals are called as rungs. So when you are climbing, you need to make sure you are only holding the stiles, not the rungs while climbing. And the top of the ladder, should be placed on a solid support. The top of the ladder should be placed against a solid support. And if needed, secure the ladder so that it does not slip from the top platform as well. And always extend the ladder 3 feet above the working platform. If you are not sure about 3 feet, so at least make sure you are extending at least 4 rungs above the working platform. 1, 2, 3, 4. So at least 4 rungs above the working platform, the ladder should be extended so that the person can get a proper support while working on it. And allow only one person to work on a ladder at any one point of time. Never allow anyone to climb apart from one worker. Okay. And never allow anyone to carry tools while climbing up or coming down. And if needed, you can attach guy ropes at both the sides so that the ladder will not topple over. Never work in extreme weather conditions. Never work in extreme weather conditions, high wind zones or cyclones or torrential rains or severe rains, these things. And always maintain a safe distance from the overhead power cables. Minimum 10 feet. Up to 50 kV power lines, minimum 10 feet should be maintained, safe distance. And apart from that, if you are using wooden ladders, never paint wooden ladders. Why? Because that will lead to slipping or any cracks or these things could get hidden. So these are the controls that we can implement to minimize the risk of ladders. Clear? Sighted away from the overhead power cables, vertical distance. Placed on a solid and a flat surface. Hands on stiles, never on rungs. Correct angle of the ladder, 1:4 ratio or 75 degrees angle should be there. Top of the ladder should be against a solid support. Ladder should be secured at the top, guy ropes attached, and at the bottom, the ladder should be properly footed. Top of the ladder should be extended at least 3 feet or 4 rungs above the working platform. Only one person, nothing should be carried while climbing. Wooden ladder should not be painted, and never work on ladders in extreme weather conditions. These precautions should be taken to minimize the risk associated with ladders. Are we clear? Same thing
Yep.
when you are working with step ladders. The hazards are common: people falling from height, materials falling from height, or the ladder might
One,
topple sideways. The ladder might topple sideways. That might topple.
one question, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, yes.
What is the 1:4 ratio?
That's just now I showed you in the image here, right? So if this is 4 meters, this distance should be 1 meter. If this is 8 meters, this should be 2 meters. If this vertical distance is 12 meters, this should be 3 meters. So this 1 meter and this should be 4 meters. 1:4 ratio or 4:1 ratio. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Right. Step ladder again, control measures, fully inspected before use. Make sure the step ladders are fully open. The lock-in device is always in place. And the ladder should also be again placed on a solid and a flat surface. And whenever you're working on the step ladders, you should not work on top 2 steps. You should not work on top 2 steps. You should avoid working on top 2 steps. Why? Because that might not be able to give you proper support. So that is one thing. And make sure the ladder is regularly inspected. Again, safe distance. And if you are getting a step ladder and even after climbing on the step ladder, if you're overreaching, that means this ladder is not suitable for the job. You have brought a shorter ladder. So the best thing is return it back and bring a ladder where you can comfortably do the job rather than overreaching it. So that is one thing as well. Okay. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir, clear.
Yep.
Right. So that is one thing. Now, scaffolding. Before we discuss about one second. Okay. Scaffolding. Before we discuss about the hazards and controls associated with scaffolding, let us discuss about the key components of scaffolding. Okay. So this one, the vertical tube that you can see, this is called as standard. What is it called as? Standard. The vertical tubes are called as standards. These horizontal tubes that you can see, these are called as ledgers. Standards and long horizontal tubes are called as ledgers. And these short horizontal tubes across the ledges, these are called as transoms. So this one, these are called as transoms, short horizontal tubes. Okay. And the diagonal tubes, these are called as bracing. This diagonal tube is called as bracing of the scaffolding. And apart from that, the wooden plank that you can see here, this is called as a sole board. This is called as a sole board. And on the standards, generally you have a small steel plate. This is called as a base plate. This is base plate under which you have a wooden plank that is called as a sole board. These are standards, these are ledgers, these are transoms, this is bracing. Okay. And apart from that, generally to tie in the scaffolding, we use ropes or we use couplers. We use couplers for tying in the scaffolding. And this is a top rail, this is a mid rail, and this is a toe board. And this entire brown sheet that you can see, this is called as a working platform where the workers generally stand and do the job. So this is an independent scaffolding. This is an independent scaffolding. So these are the key components of the scaffold. Okay. Now, when people are working with the scaffolding, what are the hazards? What are the risks associated with working on scaffolding? People falling from the scaffolding during erection or during the work, or falls from working platform while doing the job, falling objects, or the entire scaffolding could collapse. Now, can somebody tell me what are the reasons that a scaffolding could collapse? The entire scaffolding could collapse or break down. What could be the reason for it?
Sir, if the scaffolding hit by the vehicle, or if there is a mm, what should I call the soil is name? I forget the name of the soil.
Loose soil,
Loose soil.
or yeah,
Loose soil, maybe the causer.
Okay. Or mainly because of poor
And
weather conditions, extreme wind might, blow away the
yep,
scaffolding, or overloading the working platform. Workers are overloading the materials of the scaffolding. Yes. Or mainly the standards, whatever verticals are there, they are not straight, they are bent or damaged. Or when you are tying in the scaffolding with ropes or using couplers, loosely fitting them or loosely tying them. That is one thing. Or what you can say, uh, scaffolding erected by incompetent person, not a scaffolding authorized scaffolding inspector or a installer. Some unauthorized person might start install a scaffolding. That is one thing. Or one thing that is uh, scaffolding not
checking
inspected before
regularly.
use, or poor maintenance of the scaffolding, or poor inspection of the scaffolding. So all these are the reasons why there could be a collapse of the scaffolding. Let us overloaded work platform. You're overloading material stored, number of people are working, it is extremely overloaded. So then the scaffolding could collapse, or erected on a soft ground, or loose ground, or uneven floor surface. Mainly the tying in coupling not done properly, or insufficient bracing. The diagonals are there, they are not properly tied in. The vertical tubes that you are using, they are not standard, they are bent or damaged because of extreme weather conditions, incorrect couplers being used, scaffolding struck by, as you said, yes, Sajid, scaffolding struck by a truck or a crane or a JCB in the construction site. Again, the entire scaffolding could collapse. Scaffolding erected by incompetent people and scaffolding not inspected before use. So these are all the common reasons why there could be a collapse of a scaffolding. Okay, this is about independent scaffolding. And there is one more scaffolding which is called as MTS, Mobile Tower Scaffold. The benefit of this scaffolding is advantages. Once the scaffold is erected, you can take it from one place to another place. You can move it from one place to another place. That is one thing. Again, this scaffolding is also used for temporary works, but the hazards associated with the scaffolding are while you are moving the scaffolding could topple over, or while moving it, you might come into contact with the overhead power cables. That could result in fatal injury, fatalities. Or when you are moving and somebody is on the working platform or some materials are stored on the working platform, the people or materials could fall down. Or if you are not properly having brakes on this, while working, the scaffolding could move, resulting in people falling from it. Okay. So these are all some of the reasons why, these are all some of the risks or hazards associated with mobile tower scaffolding. Okay, am I clear?
Clear,
Now,
sir.
while coming to the
Yep.
precautionary measures, what
Yes, sir.
precautions we can
Yes, sir.
take? Simple. First thing, when you are moving a scaffolding, make sure there is no person or no materials stored on the mobile tower scaffolding. Make sure when you are working on the scaffolding, you are using brakes on the wheels. If the brakes are not fitted, make sure at least there are outriggers. So this one which we have discussed already, the outriggers. So the outrigger should be balanced on it. And this mobile tower scaffolding should also be placed on a flat and a solid surface. And make sure the working platform is fitted with edge protection system, top rail, mid rail, and toe boards. Provide a safety harness to the workers. And do not store anything while moving the scaffolding. Already we discussed it. And maintain a safer distance from the overhead power cables. And when you are climbing, always climb from inside, not from outside. So these precautions should be taken to minimize the risk associated with mobile tower scaffolding. Okay, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Climb from the inside, not from outside. Use wheels to lock when working. Use guardrails, brick guards to prevent falling materials. Use lifeline. Provide information, instruction, and training to all the workers. Barricade the area so that no unauthorized material can come underneath it. Safe distance from the overhead cables. When moving the MTS, make sure there is nobody or no material stored on the working platform. Always place the mobile tower scaffolding on even floors. That is MTS, mobile tower scaffolding.
Scaffolding.
Okay. Next is MEWP, mobile elevated work
Working platform.
platforms. So these are all some of the examples of mobile elevated work platforms. Again, as I told you earlier, with any access equipment, there are two common risks associated with it. Either people falling from it or materials
Material objects
falling
fall
from it.
from this.
Yes. Workers falling from the cradle while working from here, the platform, or while doing the job, the materials could fall. Or if you're overloading this cradle, the jib or cradle could itself break down. Or while working, unintended movement of the MEWP. Or if you are placing the MEWP on uneven surfaces, the MEWP could collapse. Or the collapse failure of MEWP because of poor maintenance or an unauthorized person using it or an incompetent person doing the job or using the mobile elevated work platform. And one more thing is if you are not balancing the MEWP on outriggers, so there is always a possibility that unintended movement and that could result in overturning. And one more thing, Whenever you are driving this MEWPs, make sure that the jib or boom is always taken down to the ground. Why? Because it is raised up and you are moving, there is a possibility that it might come into contact with overhead power cables. So that is what. Workers falling, objects falling, MEWP collapsing, MEWP overturning or toppling over. Okay, contact with live overheads. If you are working in between two adjacent structures or buildings, so there is not enough gap, this cradle could get stuck in between it. And while you are moving it, it could get sheared between the buildings, dragged between the buildings. That is one thing. And it could result in unauthorized use. So while coming to the control measures, simple. Make sure the MEWP which you are going to use is in good condition, driven only by authorized people, inspected before use. And when you are using the MEWP, make sure you are placing it on a flat and a solid surface. Always use outriggers. Do not, rest it on wheels. Always use outriggers. Barricade the area to prevent unauthorized entry of vehicles and people in the danger zone. Develop a safe systems of work. And if it is a dangerous work, make sure there is a permit to work system. Installing guardrails on the cradle to prevent a person from falling. Do not overload the cradle. Provide safety harness and a lifeline or a fall arrestor so that if a worker falls, he will not directly fall onto the ground, minimizing the consequence of the injury. And whenever you are driving, already discussed, the cradle should always be kept close to the ground, not be extended. Okay, are we clear? So these precautions have to be taken when you are
Yes,
working
sir.
with mobile elevated working platforms. Solid and a flat surface, clearance from obstructions and overheads, barriers to prevent other vehicles, guardrails. Control should always be inside the cradle so the worker can move it as per his requirement. When you are doing driving, always make sure this cradle is kept close to the ground, should not be overloaded. Correct use of outriggers, this one, regularly inspected and operated only by trained and authorized people. So these are all the controls that can be implemented to minimize the risk associated with mobile elevated work platforms. Okay. So that is about access equipment. Now, let us discuss about confined space. Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of confined space? Yes, what do you mean by a confined space? Anybody?
Space or room like it's
A
closed without
a
opening.
congested place without proper entrance or egress.
Entry
Okay.
and
A
Mhm.
specific room for a particular purpose. The one entry and exit with a limited oxygen or deficiency of oxygen with a toxic environment, which may create uneven working conditions, and person cannot do the work continuously in
Yes,
a free manner, and a restricted portion is called a confined space.
exactly. So confined space has two main characteristics. One is a confined space is enclosed in nature. It is always enclosed, closed in nature. Second thing is it has restricted entry and exit. Restricted entry and exit. And it is not designed for continuous work. So such kind of entries are called as confined space entries. Well, pits, vats, boilers, chambers, tunnels, underground pipelines, any place which is closed in nature and which has restricted entry and restricted exits. So that kind of entries are called as confined space entries. Okay. Now, why confined space entries are considered to be, potentially very hazardous. Why? Because if anything goes wrong, there is a possibility of a catastrophic or severe, very severe injuries or ill health, or even that could result in death. So that is why confined space entries are considered to be high risk activities. Now, why? Already Sajid gave some examples as well as Sriram gave some examples. Why confined space entries are considered to be high risk activities? Why? Because there might be lack of sufficient oxygen, or there could be presence of toxic gases or poisonous gases, or there could be poor lighting. As it is enclosed in nature, closed in nature, there will be no ventilation, or there could be increase in body's temperature. Body temperature might increase dangerously, hyperthermia increase dangerously. And particularly when you are working in the underground pipelines, what happens? There is a risk of drowning, or there could be biological hazards also, particularly people working in sewage tanks, underground pipelines. There may be biological hazards such as rats, bacteria, funguses, viruses. They might be exposed to biological hazards. And apart from that, not having enough space, very congested areas, so working in very limited spaces, awkward space, that is also one thing. And free flowing solids, kind of slurry. Slurry in the sense solids mixed with liquids, you have a slurry substance. So free flowing solid can easily fill up the space, particularly in underground sewage tankers. Easily fill up the space and could result in asphyxiation. Means when the worker is completely buried under this free flowing solid, so he'll not be able to breathe properly. That could result in suffocation and death. So that is why confined space entries are considered to be high risk activities. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And for every high risk activity, there should be a documented safety procedure. What is it? For every high risk activity, we need to have a documented
Permit to work.
safety.
Like
Exactly.
PTW.
So you need to have permit to work, or you should definitely have a work permit, and make sure the work is only carried out by a competent person. Competent person in the sense who has got a certificate, who has done a course, got a certificate and approval from the local authority as a confined space worker. So only he should be allowed to do the job, that too with proper supervision, and make sure all the controls have already been implemented. Okay, are we clear? See,
Yes, sir.
already discussed why confined spaces are dangerous. Why? Because lack of oxygen, poisonous gases, vapors, or fumes might be present in the space, or while doing some welding activity inside the tanks, fumes could result, or vapors could be, released. Liquids and solids can suddenly fill up the space or release gases into it when disturbed. Fire and explosion, dust present in high concentrations, particularly when you are going for floor silos, cleaning of floor silos. I'll show you. Let me show. Mainly in manufacturing industries, whether it might be cement manufacturing industries or flour, wheat flour or general purpose food. When you are having this meat manufacturing industries, so what happens? These silos are available, so all the content will be put in the silos and then it is packed into small packaging. So even the maintenance of the silos means workers might have to enter into this and they have to do the job. So enclosed, poor lighting, no proper ventilation, increase in body's temperature. They might breathe dust particles while cleaning the walls of the silos. So that could result in chemical hazard as well, or hazardous substances. Hot conditions, increase in the dangerous temperature. Residues or waste left in the tank or vessels remain internal surfaces, which can give off gas, fumes, or vapors when you're doing the job. So that is why confined space work is considered to be a high risk work. Okay, am I clear?
Clear, sir.
See.
Yes.
Do not work inside a confined space if possible. Elimination is always the best option. But if the work cannot be completed without entering into it, then only you should think about working inside. But before that, carry out a risk assessment, develop a safe system of work, make sure all the emergency arrangements, whatever kind of emergencies could arise, fire or asphyxiation or any other things that could occur, make sure all the arrangements are in place. Yes, emergency arrangements. There is a permit to work and work should be carried out only by trained person. Certified worker who is 18 years and above and who holds certificates from the local authority. And if you are working particularly in floor silos or underground pipelines, make sure all the valves and taps are properly closed or isolated so that accidentally nobody would turn it on. Provision of ventilation if possible, checking the size of the entrance to make sure whether you can fit in it or not. Arrangements for lighting, testing the air quality. And again, depending on the type of confined space entries, you might have to frequently go for testing of air quality because the oxygen levels or the content of the poisonous gases might change from time to time. So you should decide the frequency based on the kind of task you are doing. So at least once in every hour, you should go for testing the air quality, or at least once in every 2 hours, once in every 3 hours. Because it depends from one workplace to another workplace, depending on the type of confined space you are working in. Special tools and lighting, provision of personal protective equipment, and make sure there is a permit to work issued. And one of the emergency arrangement is also, having first aid arrangements in place. In case if something goes wrong, immediately we can provide the first aid treatment or at least call an ambulance or a hospital service to do that and develop a safe system of work, install signages, provide information, instruction and training and barricading the area. There are a lot more controls. Barricading the area, restricting the access to even proper communication to all the people in the workplace about the confined space entry. There should be proper supervision or a fire marshal available or a first aider available in the workplace and providing them RPE, respiratory protective equipment, particularly there is oxygen depletion. In that case, you should provide breathing apparatus. Right. So these control measures should be taken to minimize the risk associated with confined spaces. Are we clear?
Yes, sir. What is
Yes.
the meaning of SOW?
Safe systems of work.
The system of work.
We discussed in element 3. What happened? Who is this? Who is this who asked me the question about SSOW?
Amara.
Kamara, where are you? We discussed in element 3, safe systems of work. And we completed, I think, 1 week before. And you are now asking me what does SSOW stands for? Not acceptable, huh? You don't even know what is SSOW or what does SSOW stands for. It is not the right way for preparing for your exam. Okay, please go through the videos again. Okay.
All right.
I did not expect this. Right. So the next one is loan working. What is loan working? Can somebody tell me? Examples of loan working or what is loan work?
No, sir.
You don't know what is loan working?
Yes, sir. You say you
Working
define
alone. Working alone. Nobody with him. Nobody with them.
Working alone, yes. The workers who are
working alone is
workers
called loan working.
who are
Without supervision.
working alone or without direct supervision or working away from their colleagues. working away from their colleagues. Those are called as lone working. I told you that we will discuss about the control measures about lone working in element 8. But we discussed what is lone working in element 3. Means a worker who is working alone. For example, a delivery boy, a delivery guy, lone worker. Worker who is doing the job on extreme height, lone worker. Or a worker who is doing the job in a confined space. Confined space is designed for a group work or a lone work?
It's lone
Sir, it
worker.
depends.
Lone work, yes. So, a worker who is doing a job in a confined space, he is also a lone worker.
Security guard.
Mechanics, installation staff, yes, installation staff, security guards, right? Uber, Ola drivers, cab drivers, right? So all these are lone workers. Now, why lone workers are considered to be vulnerable? Why they are considered to be vulnerable, or they might be more prone to risk? Why? Because first thing, they are alone, means they will not get any support immediately if something goes wrong. Means any kind of support or any kind of first aid or any kind of emergency arrangements, they'll not be able to get it. And another reason is there could be a risk of violence from the public. So this makes the lone workers vulnerable. Okay. So what precautions should be taken to minimize the risk associated with lone work? So let us see. First of all, carry out a lone worker risk assessment. Remember, we discussed in element 3, right? There are general risk assessment as well as specific risk assessments. So if there are lone workers, make sure you have to carry out a specific risk assessment, lone worker risk assessment, to identify the hazards associated in the lone working, the risks, and take necessary control measures. So you have to carry out a lone working risk assessments. And if possible, avoid lone working. If possible, avoid lone working. If possible. If not, then provide training to the workers of hazards and risks present in the job. Create awareness. Okay. Provide training to the workers. And obviously, if it is a high risk activity, make sure there is a permit to work taken. And if there are lone workers, make sure there is always a regular contact with the
Provide first aid.
lone workers, mainly voice contact by providing mobiles or walkie-talkies, mobile or walkie-talkies that should be provided, or a two-way radio system that should be installed, or alarms to, in case if there is an emergency, immediately you can raise an alarm. And also make sure there is a proper procedure for check-in and check-out. Proper setup to check in and check out system, or you can go for a buddy system. Means if it is high risky, make sure there is no lone working. There should be some other person to monitor him. Or you can also install motion detection cameras or sensors, so that if there is no specific motion detected from a lone worker, immediately that can raise an alarm, or regular supervision of lone workers. Provide PP is the last option again, one thing, and restrict or prevent workers from going for lone working in high risk areas, first of all, particularly very remote locations, or in the night time there is a higher risk. So restrict night time, you should definitely restrict lone working for the workers, and always develop a procedure how to do that particular job. And should I have emergency arrangements or not? Emergency procedures should be developed, and the workers should be trained on what to do in case if there is an emergency. And one more thing, so lone workers might, if they are working in this industry but away from the sites, okay, there could be hazards, emergency that could arise in the workplace. So emergency procedure should be trained. Now let us suppose there is an installation guy or a mechanic or any other worker who goes to the client's location to deliver products or to install or to repair something. So there is a possibility that in that location also there could be a fire accident, there could be a
Yes, sir.
flood, there could be violence, there could be reasons. These things could happen, right? So even the lone worker should also be trained in case if you are going to a particular location. If a violence if a violence occurs, what you should do, and if flooding takes place in that area, what you should do, if a fire starts, what you should do. So even that procedures should also be developed for them. Okay. And mobile first aid kits should be provided. Or appoint a person who they can contact if there is an emergency. This is one thing, and even particularly I have seen certain scenarios in the recent times in Hyderabad or in India in other areas where the delivery boys were being abused because of delivering the food late, or the food is stale or undercooked, or the quantity is less, so the customers start abusing them, or they start refusing to pay the money to the loan workers. So if that is the situation, then the management should also train them. So if such kind of situations arise, what you have to do means, if work-related violence arises, what procedure you have to follow. And if you're traveling during a work, if an accident occurs, what procedure has to be followed. If an injury is there, what procedures you have to follow. If a fire accident, what procedure. So all these things should be developed by the management, and the workers should be trained on how to act if there is an emergency in their workplace. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
It's clear, sir.
Yes. Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir, done.
The next one is slips, trips, and falls. Slips and trips and falls on the same level. Slip and trip hazards are the most common workplace hazards. Most common workplace hazards. And these hazards could result in very minor injury to a very severe injury. So now let us discuss about what are the reasons for slips and trips. Anybody who can tell me what are the reasons for slip and trips?
Poor housekeeping,
Or housekeeping.
Or housekeeping.
slippery surface,
Spoilage
Okay.
of oil.
Your housekeeping,
If the floor is wet,
wet
yeah,
floor,
poor.
or
Uneven
slippery floor, wet or
uneven
slippery
ground
floor,
surface.
uneven ground surface, uneven.
Poor cable management.
What is it?
Poor cable
Or
management.
keyboard management.
Poor
Cable management.
Poor cable
cables.
management.
Okay, trailing cables across the path. Trailing
Poor lighting.
cables on the path. Yes, great. Poor lighting. Workers could not see things clearly. Poor lighting or poor footwear. Yes. Poor footwear, or you can say no anti-slip footwear, or damaged footwear. Or loose, what is that? Loose lace.
Mats.
Lace.
Mats.
If you are not tying in the lace properly of the shoes when you are walking, you might trip and fall over it. That is one thing. Or obstacles on the
Human
floor.
factor.
Placement of
Obstacles on the
equipment
floor,
by weight.
such as pallets, plastic pallets.
Loose clothing also.
Tools, littering of tools.
Loose.
Loose clothing, especially
Yeah.
when you are we are using the escalator.
Yes. Loose cloth. That comes under entanglement actually. They don't because the loose clothing will get, entangled,
Yeah,
loose mats.
yeah. But if you are using a loose clothing and then you incidentally step out, then you will
Yes,
be.
you step on it. Yes, that could also result in a trip hazard as well. Or
But
you can say
not paying attention.
spillage of water or oils or coffee or tea, anything on the floor.
I
That is one thing.
icy floor,
Or
snow fall area.
dust,
Improper stacking of,
Human
improper stacking of
factors.
sand,
materials.
or
Weather's
loose,
condition.
or general human error, workers not concentrating while walking. Yes,
Improper
human error.
stacking of materials.
Improper
Stacking of materials.
stacking. Okay, we can say it as uh, uh,
Littering of tools.
mainly because of obstacles on the floor. You can consider in that itself. Okay,
Working
and
under raining.
working
Bad weather.
under
When it's
Rain.
raining or bad weather,
I think weather's condition.
weather condition.
weather
Yeah,
condition,
poor weather conditions because of extreme rains or this thing, poor weather conditions.
extreme raining.
That is also one of the reason. And poorly designed walkways, steep staircases. I think you discussed, right, in the scenario.
Yes, sir.
Poorly designed walkways, such as steep staircases, steep stairs. That is also one of the reason. Or a lack of handrails on the staircases. There is nothing to hold it while climbing up or coming down. That is one thing. Or poor drainage
Yes.
systems leading to water stagnating. These things, poor drainage system. Poor drainage system leading to water pooling. You can call it as water pooling actually. Poor drainage system leading to water pooling and resulting in slippery floor. That is one thing. And sudden changes in the floor. We can also see this. When you're walking
Spillage.
and there is a sudden change in the floor levels. So a worker while walking could trip and fall over it. So that is what sudden changes in the floor levels.
Spillage.
Line cable on the
Spillage, I think
pathway
already mentioned
or
point number
walkway.
9. Sudden changes in the floor levels. Okay. And what else? Poor lighting is already mentioned, right? Yeah, poor lighting and
Yeah.
poor positioning of the furniture. Poor positioning of the furniture. It is almost near to the walkway where workers, while walking to and fro, they might start tripping over it. That is one thing. And what else?
Incompetent worker also.
Incompetent worker. Can you
Worker.
give an example how that could result in slips and
If
trips?
if I'm not well trained to a particular job, there is a possibility for me to trip or fall.
How?
If
Lack
here is
of
sleeping,
awareness. Okay. Lack
yeah.
of awareness about hazards.
We
Okay. Yes.
already studied in manual handling.
Yes. Lack of awareness about the hazards or because of no proper signages to alert the workers about the slippery floors. Okay. So all these are the reasons why there could be slip and trip hazards. Okay. So these are all the reasons why, because, and again, nowadays most of the companies, multinational companies, they have started corporate culture. What happens? They love coffee, cool drinks. They can bring it to their desk and they can eat it, right? Eat or drink during the job. So what's happening here when you are bringing the coffee, tea or water or cold carbonated drinks onto your desk? So if you're working and if you don't concentrate by mistake, these drinks should be spilling on the floor. Even that could also result in slips in the workplace. So never allow eating, drinking in the workplaces. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these are the reasons why there could be a slips and trips. So what control measures we can take? Controls for reducing the slips and trips. The most effective thing is good housekeeping. Good housekeeping can prevent almost most of the slip and trip hazards in the workplace. Good housekeeping and what else? Keeping the floors
Provide
always clean. Keeping the floors always clean, free
suitable
from spillages like oil, water, dust, or any kind of waste. And using, instead of using overly polished tiles, use matte based tiles, or you can say non-slip flooring should be used to prevent the. Well, just give me a moment. Okay. Right. So you can use that as well as any kind of
Repair,
obstacles on the floor. Obstacles on the floor should be clear. A simple thing you can do one thing. Instead of typing all these things, what we can do is
Always maintain 5S.
exactly the opposite of what we discussed. Right. Exactly opposite of what we discussed earlier. These things should be there. Good housekeeping. Anti-slip shoes should be provided. Shoes should be in good condition. Non-slippery floor should be there. Proper housekeeping, cleaning the spillages such as oil, water, or any kind of wet substances on the floor immediately. And make sure you are also having a spill kit. There are generally spill kits used. Because if it is water falling on the floor with a dry mop, you can clean it. But if it is some fluid, oil, grease, or something which is highly viscous, if it is falling on the floor, do you think by simply sweeping it with a mop, all the traces of the oil or grease on the floor will vanish? No, no. So what you have spill kits. So you use the spill kits, you pour some wood husk, or you pour some cemented dust, or you pour some ash on the slippery surface. It will absorb it and then you clean it properly. That should be the proper cable management. Staircases should be properly maintained. Instead of narrow staircases, make sure they are good enough. Provide handrails on it. And good uneven floors should be avoided. Make sure there are flat road surfaces. Highlighting the hazards by installing warning signs such as caution, slippery floor ahead, caution, change of level ahead. That should be there. Improving the work layout, providing proper training to the workers about the hazards and risks present in the workplace, especially the slip and trip hazards. And provide training to the workers on reporting procedures as well, so that if a worker sees any slip and trip hazard in the workplace, immediately they can report it. Proper storage of this, and if there are mats which are not lying flat, make sure you are properly pasting it. No loose mat should be there. Properly pasting or sticking the mats onto the floor, and maintenance of these mats is also very, very important. So these precautions should be taken to minimize the risk associated with slips and trips. Right? Are we clear?
clear, sir.
yes, sir.
Right. Next thing. Good
Yes, sir.
housekeeping already we discussed. Particularly if you are storing wet substances, make sure these substances are also having spill kits or spill tray, so that if any spillage happens, the spills will not directly go onto the ground. They will be collected in a tray or a spill kit to prevent spillages on the floor. That is also one more thing that you can see. Next. See, poor housekeeping can disturb traffic movement. It can block light. It can block access to essential services such as fire extinguishers, fire exits. Will be blocked. The stacks, poor housekeeping or improper stacking could result in the stacks collapsing, or stacked materials might topple over and fall from height. So what precautions we can take to minimize the risk is storage area should be clearly defined, and no work activity should be carried out in storerooms. There should be enough gap between one stack to another stack. A proper at least 1 feet height from the stacking from the ground so that we can clean these things under the stack properly. And if you are storing hazardous materials, this storeroom should be clearly having signboards with warning signs. Incompatible substances should be stored separately. And storeroom should be clearly maintained. Warning signs, no work activities. And all the stacks what you're using, they should be vertical. It should not be in a zigzag way. Why? Because if it is in zigzag way, there is a possibility that the stacks could collapse. So that is about good housekeeping as well. So the next one is safe movement of people and vehicles in the workplace. So when there are people and vehicles in the organization, or when there are pedestrians in the workplace, what are the hazards to pedestrians? So these people can get struck by moving objects or flying objects or falling objects. Moving objects such as a moving machinery or a moving vehicle that might hit the worker. Flying objects, mainly projectiles, when you're going for drilling, exploding activities. So this objects could fly with very high speed and resulting in severe injuries. Falling objects, mainly because of poor storage or working at height, the materials could fall from height. That is one. Collision with moving vehicles and striking against fixed and stationary objects such as dividers, walls, furnitures. When you are walking, you are not concentrating, you might trip and fall over it. Ejected parts, thrown parts, loads falling from height, object dislocates because of poor housekeeping, bad weather conditions, unstable objects stored on the roofs or stacks. Stationary objects, pallets, this is the pallet, wooden pallets on the floor, or narrow doorways, or low overheads. Low overheads in the sense, let us suppose if this is the door and the shutter is half open. So when the worker is walking under this, he might hit, his head might hit with the low overhead. That is one thing. So these are the hazards to pedestrians or the people who are working in the organization. So now let us discuss about hazards and controls associated with vehicle operations. Just a minute, huh? Just give me a minute. Right. So hazards and controls associated with vehicle operations. So when there are vehicles, there are two main hazards. They are classified into two parts. One is non-movement related hazards. One is non-movement related hazards. Another one is movement related hazards. So non-movement in the sense when the vehicle is not in moving condition, what are the hazards? So loading and unloading of the vehicles, that is a hazard. Or securing and sheeting the loading dock. Or coupling the vehicles when you are trying to move a vehicle which is broken, which is not starting, which is broken down. So we generally use coupling, you have towing vehicles. So that is used for this, or even when you're going for maintenance or repair works, maintenance or repair work, that is also called as a non-movement related hazard. Now, movement related hazards. When the vehicle is in moving condition, what are the hazards? Movement related. First thing is what could happen is driver could lose control, loss of control, and overturning of the vehicle. Loss of control and overturning of the vehicle or collisions. These collisions can happen. The vehicle could hit people. The vehicle could hit other vehicles, or the vehicle could hit fixed objects such as dividers, culverts, pillars. So these are the two main hazards associated with movement of vehicles. So let us discuss. So can you tell me what are the reasons? What are the reasons that a driver could lose loss of control, and the vehicle could overturn, or why there could be collisions with vehicles or other vehicles? Yes? What could be the reason? Okay. I think we're all muted.
Due to fatigue.
Speed.
Overspeeding.
Okay, we will discuss what
Maybe
one by
driver
one.
drunk.
We'll discuss one by one. Yeah, first point. What would it be?
Fatigue.
Driver under stress or because of fatigue. Okay. And
Adequate
Reckless,
training.
reckless driving.
Adverse
overspeeding,
weather condition.
driving in extreme weather condition. Perfect, right?
Maybe driver drunk.
Driving in a mist or fog. Driving in a mist or foggy weather.
Driver's error, such as using mobile or under alcohol.
Drugs
Okay.
or drugs and alcohol.
Drugs and alcohol. Okay. And somebody said something else. What is it?
Inadequate training.
Poor training to the
Mechanical
driver. Okay.
failure.
Poor training to the driver. Okay. Mechanical failure due to what?
Lack of maintenance.
Failure due to poor maintenance. Yes. Poor maintenance, or you can say mechanical
Driving in
failure,
a foggy weather.
brake
Or
failure, or foggy weather, extreme weather conditions. It will come under extreme weather conditions. Foggy weather, or you can do
Overloading
one
the
thing.
vehicle. Overloading.
Poor lighting, particularly in the night time, this could happen. Okay. And taking sharp turns, steep turns. Yes.
While drinking and driving.
Alcohol, it was already mentioned. Point number 5. Sharp turns.
taking
Sharp
shortcuts.
turns. Yeah.
Taking shortcuts.
Yeah, taking shortcuts or poor road conditions.
Poor road conditions.
Poor road conditions. Poor tire pressures, tire condition. Poor tire conditions or poor tire pressure or hard braking of the vehicle. You suddenly start hard braking. Suddenly you put a brake, the driver might lose control, and it would result in this. And distraction while
Overloading the
driving.
vehicle.
Distraction
Overloading.
while driving. Overloading, yes, perfect. Overloading of the vehicle. That is also one of the reasons. Okay, and
Violating the traffic rules.
by using
Violating traffic rules.
poor traffic layout and poor crossing points, or using the wrong vehicle for the job, selecting the wrong vehicle for the job, using the wrong vehicle. For example, if you are going for terrain routes, uneven road surfaces, you should select that vehicle. If you are depending on the nature of work, how much load you are carrying, what is the road condition, you should select the right vehicle for the job, using the right vehicle, using a wrong vehicle. And, what else? Poor visibility, poor lighting. Okay. No barrier between the people and the vehicles. Means no footpaths or no separate walkways or vehicle base. That could also result in that. And
animals on
Poor
road.
training, sir. Poor training.
No,
failure to follow safety rules. Okay. Poor training, I think
special
it is already mentioned, not mentioned.
special factor
Poor training, point number 9.
Driver error.
health problem.
Animal on road.
Special factor
Mm,
health problem.
yeah, sorry, Patrick, your voice is not clear. I think there might be a problem with your mic or this thing. Unauthorized reversing, reversing in the
Hmm.
areas which there is no authorization, or taking wrong side driving.
Or negative peer pressure.
Work pressures, yes, work pressures, which makes the worker to drive in an unsafe way, even also that is also a factor. Or and what else?
Animal on road.
Road conditions we can consider in that potholes,
Okay.
animals will
Okay,
consider
sir.
that. Okay, and poor parking, yes,
For parking.
poor parking. And where is it? Did I mention that here? Poor traffic management, poor crossing point, yes. And one more thing, poor
Or medical health
management
problem.
of entry and exit, or
Health
health
problem.
condition of the driver.
Health condition of the driver.
Okay, poor management of entry and exit means, for example, if there is a building and the entrance of this building is this, even this is for entry and this is for exit. So will there be a higher risk of collision or low risk of collision?
High risk.
High risk. Same way, if you look into another building, let us suppose. So in this building, they have a separate entry and separate exit. Here, the risk of collisions will be less, right?
You're right.
So that is one thing. So that is proper management of entry and exit. If these entries and exits are not different, then definitely that could result in more number of collisions. So all these are the reasons why there could be collisions or loss of control of vehicles. Okay. Now, what control measures we can take to minimize the risk of vehicle operations? Simple. Safe site. Vehicle free zones means where there are people working, where there are pedestrians, no vehicle should be allowed. That is called as vehicle free zone. Or pedestrian free zone means where there are vehicles, you should not allow any persons there. That is pedestrian free zone. Or proper traffic layout, crossing points, traffic signals, segregation with footpaths or marked walkways or physical barriers between the vehicle ways and walkways. Marked walkways, separate access point, entries and exit, good visibility, improve the
Follow speed
lighting.
limit. Follow speed
Speed
limit.
limits, yes. And particularly when you're working at the night time, make sure there is high visibility, high visibility jackets provided, radium jackets, because in the night visibility is poor. So to prevent collisions, we should provide high visibility jackets. Install signages to show the direction of the travel or speed limits. Install speed breakers. Install speed breakers. Make sure the roads are in good condition. Avoid gradients, means avoid driving in uneven forces or avoid parking in slopy areas. That will come under safe site. Next, safe vehicle. So vehicle should be in good condition. Right vehicle should be selected for the job. The vehicle should not be overloaded. Driven by only competent people. Tires in good condition. Good tire pressure. Making sure that the horn is working properly, rear view mirrors are adjusted, reversing alarms are working properly, lights, visors are working properly. Regularly inspected and maintained, and the vehicle should be fitted with a seat belt, headrest, airbags, ergonomical seat. Yes, audible reversing alarm and a flashing beacon with a light to alert the people coming about the coming vehicle. That is one thing. Or you can also install this. This is called as ROPS. ROPS, roll over protective structures. So what is the benefit of using this? If the vehicle overturns, then there is a higher possibility that of driver's survival. So the driver can survive. But if there are no rollover protective structures, then the worker could get crushed between the ground and the vehicle. So the chances of survival are very less. Next, safe driver, already we discussed. Competent enough, provided with training and health checkups of the driver, particularly experience from his previous employer about drugs and alcohol policy. Okay. And all the driving activities should be supervised. That will come under the safe driver. Competent to drive, provided with proper training, medically fit, provided with information, instruction, and training. Particularly when you are going for training, the management should provide training to the workers on defensive driving.
Defensive driving.
Safe driving, exactly. Defensive driving should also be, training should be provided. And even the worker should also be provided with information or training about how to carry out pre-use checks, what should be checked in the vehicle, and how to report any defects. That should also be provided to the driver. Clear?
Close monitoring also.
Yes.
Remote monitoring of the vehicles from the
Yes.
like
Regular inspection and that is about vehicle. Na? We are talking about driver.
intra-vehicular monitoring system.
Yes, vehicle monitoring system. Yes, that could also be there. Or even GPS tracking. That comes under vehicle actually. Okay.
Strict disciplinary action for the violating drivers.
I didn't get you.
Disciplinary action and awarding system.
Yes. Communication about the procedures and policies,
yes.
alcohol and drugs policy, as well as what you say, disciplinary procedures if the workers are driving in an unsafe way. Yes, that should also be explained to the driver. Okay. Now, let us discuss about work-related driving. So, particularly in the organizations, when you are having vehicles in the workplace, then we have discussed about health and safety management system, plan, do, check, act. Same way, there should be a proper vehicle management system, which is plan, do, check, and act. So there should be a policy developed for vehicle management or vehicle transportation safety should also be considered in the health and safety policy. And they should appoint people who will be responsible for work-related driving. That comes under plan. Do implementation. Arrangements for communication, arrangements for training, arrangements for coordination between the departments. This should be available. And then once implemented, checking whether everything is working properly or not. Carrying out inspections, surveys, taking feedback from the workers, or reactive monitoring. Investigating accidents associated with the vehicles or acting on the complaints against the drivers or looking into the challans issued by the governments for breaking the rules, these things. And if there is anything which is wrong, immediately take an action for improvement. So let us plan. Assess the risks associated with vehicle operations. Include transportation safety in your health and safety policy. Work-related driving should be taken account by the top management. Means top management should also be accountable for work-related driving in the workplace, clearly defining the roles and responsibilities. This will come under plan. Do coordination, consultation between different teams. Why? Because when you are working in the organization for transporting materials or picking and dropping the employees who are working in multiple shifts. So if there is no proper coordination between the department heads and the fleet manager is a person who generally, manages vehicles in the workplace, such as which vehicle should start from which area, where should be the dropping point, what should be the material, how many vehicles are there, how many kilometers they have to run. So all this is managed by the fleet manager. So until unless there is a proper cooperation and coordination between the departments, the fleet management is not effectively implemented. So that is it. And maintenance requirements, arrangements for maintenance, communication, consultation, training. This comes under planning is done, implementation is done. The next thing is to check whether everything is working effectively or not. So for that, what we do, we go for checking, monitoring, inspections, surveys, audits, or investigating accidents associated with the vehicles, looking into the enforcement notices given by the enforcement authorities, or acting on workers' complaints. If everything is working fine, that is good. If not, take an action for improvement. Review your performance. Something's gone wrong. Learn what went wrong and make improvements and update the policy. And again, PDCA cycle. So that is work related driving. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, here again, when it comes to control measures, earlier we discussed about vehicle operation, safe site, safe driver, safe vehicle. But here in work-related driving, we have safe vehicle, safe driver, and safe journey. First, safe vehicle or safe driver, you can see. Competency of the driver should be checked, driver's license should be checked, experience and ability should be checked, and feedback from the previous employer should also be checked by the management. Provide training to the drivers on how to drive safely, and provide training to the workers on how to carry out pre-use checks and what to check in this. We already discussed earlier. Medical examination, eyesight tests, and drugs. That comes a drugs policy. That will come under safe driver. Safe vehicle, minimum legal standards with proper valid insurance, proper registration certificate, pollution under control certificate. It should be in good condition. Selecting the right vehicle for the job, regularly inspected and maintained. And there should be also procedures for reporting any defects in the vehicles. And the vehicle should be installed with seat belt, headrest, airbags, ergonomical seat for the driver, as well as an emergency triangle, a spare tire, and a portable fire extinguisher, and a jack, and a first aid kit. This should be available. This safety equipment should be available in the vehicle. Ergonomics, adjustable seat positions, and seat height. Not only the seat movement from height adjustment from front to back, but even height adjustment as per the driver's requirement. That should also be checked. So that comes under safe vehicle. The last one is safe journey. So when you are planning for a journey in the workplace, make sure these journeys are properly planned so that these journeys can avoid busy roads, the roads which are very narrow, the roads which are under construction, or the roads which are damaged. Okay. The roads which are having a lot of traffic signals on a very busy traffic jams. Such kind of roads should be avoided. Instead of using two-way roads, use one-way roads where it has a divider, block divider for entry one road and exit one road. Those rides are very safer while compared to two-way roads. So scheduling, avoid traveling or avoid driving in peak traffic times. Because, peak traffic time generally at what time? Morning 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I guess, right? In the morning. And in the evening from 5 o'clock to 7 or 8, this is the time where there is a huge traffic.
Official time.
Yes, because in the morning people start going to their offices, in the evening they come back to their homes. This is where a lot of traffic is seen. So the management or the work should make sure that the traveling is happening in non-peak times. For example, let us suppose if I have to travel to my hometown, which is approximately 330 kilometers from Hyderabad. So I never travel within the city. I never travel in the city to go to my hometown. Particularly if I had to travel from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the night, in between this time, I never take city route because it will take approximately 2 hours to reach the outskirts of Hyderabad. So these 2 hours, I'll be still struggling in the traffic itself. So I avoid driving in the city. I take a outer ring road, so where there is no traffic. So it might be increasing the number of kilometers by 20, but still there is no traffic. Smoothly I can drive and reach the outskirts of the city within half an hour rather than for 1.5 hours. Or if I have to travel within the city, I just know it. Peak timings, I'll avoid peak timings. I'll start my car and I'll start my journey here at morning 4 o'clock or morning 6 o'clock. Because in this time, the roads are completely, empty, no vehicles, no traffic. I can cover the same 2 hours journey within 30 minutes within the city. So I do this. So avoiding peak traffic times or choosing the roads which are not very busy. That is very important. Avoid traveling when you feel naturally fatigued. Early morning, 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. This is the time where the humans feel naturally fatigued because you feel a lot of dizziness and you'll be sleeping. Or in the afternoon after lunch. If you have your lunch and you start driving your vehicle, it is very difficult to concentrate. Why? Because you feel dizzy and you feel like sleeping. So avoid driving in this. And second, the last point, allow flexibility of deadlines. Impractical deadlines put unnecessary pressure on the driver. So if you're telling a person to deliver deliver the goods in 1 hour, and he is supposed to travel 80 kilometers or 100 kilometers in 1 hour, do you think he'll drive safely?
Okay.
He will overspeed, he'll break the signals, he'll take wrong directions. Whatever breaches he could possibly do, he could do everything because his mission is to deliver the goods within 1 hour. So he won't think about driving safely. He will only think about driving and reaching to the destination in the given time. So unnecessary deadlines and impractical deadlines put unnecessary pressure on the drivers and they will drive in unsafe way. So that is one thing. And whatever time, just now what we discussed, whatever time you are allowing for traveling, that should be reasonable. Means considering the road conditions, considering weather conditions, considering the driver's time, considering brake timings, considering the number of kilometers, number of rest points for the workers. So all these factors should be considered when you are giving a deadline at what time you have to reach. So that is very important. And minimize the travel distance to the driver as low as possible. I'll tell you one thing. So when I used to work in an MNC, so that company used to provide us pick and drop facilities. For example, my office is in this corner of the city and I stay in this corner of the city, which is approximately 20 kilometers from my office to home. So now if the company is providing pick and drop facilities to me, to pick me from my home to my office, the driver has to travel 40 kilometers every day, and considering this traffic, so it might take approximately 2 hours to pick me up, 2 hours to drop me, 4 hours. And apart from that, if there are multiple people who have to be picked up in the same vehicle, it might take 4 hours also. 4 hours up, 4 hours down. Means what's happening here? In the entire 8 hours, all the 8 hours, he is continuously driving. Risk increases or decreases?
Increases, sir.
Risk increases. So what the management did, the management told us that, boss, we will be providing you transportation, but it will be a not home pickup and a drop. What we do is we have a pickup point for you. So you have to manage your own transportation to the nearest pickup point. So we will be able to pick you up from the nearest pickup point. Instead of 20 kilometers, the driver has to drive only 2 kilometers up and 2 kilometers down. So they said that you arrange your own transport, come to the nearest pickup point. From here, there are shuttle services. They'll pick you from the office from the bus stand to the office. Then again, once your job is completed, you get a shuttle service. They'll drop you to the nearest pickup point. From here, again, you have to manage your own transport. So what's happening here? Am I reducing the driver's driving time or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
we reduce.
So this way we can reduce the risk of drivers when driving for long durations. That is one thing. And particularly when the drivers are traveling outside the city or interstate transport, then weather checking, weather forecast should also be checked. If you are aware about India, particularly in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, there are heavy rains. So if somebody is traveling from Hyderabad to some other state such as Chennai or in the northern parts, the climate changes. Heavy rains are there, roads are blocked, the rivers are the railway bridges are damaged, the roads are damaged, the bridges are collapsing, or the roads are completely filled with water. No driving. So the driver should also be provided with a proper weather forecast, and the driver should also be informed when to drive and when not to drive in case if there is any extreme weather condition. Am I clear? So these
Yep.
arrangements must also be
Yes,
made
sir.
when you are planning for work related driving, right? So that is about our element 8, which is general work environmental issues. Before we start our element 9, there is a small video on animated video. You just watch it and then we'll start our element 9, which is work equipment. Please make sure nobody sleeps in this, okay, while watching the video. Because yesterday most of you are sleeping or either not available on the screen. If you want me to play the video, then only I'll play. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. I can start element 9. What is your opinion on that?
We'll
Should
play
I?
that video.
Play.
Play the video.
Play the
So the next element that we are going to start is our element 9. We just have the basic introduction about this element, and then we'll try to complete it tomorrow. So the element 9 is work equipment. So if you remember in our element 1, okay, we discussed employers' legal responsibilities, right? Employers' obligations. Remember?
To provide safe equipment.
Yes, as per the Article 16 of C-155 and the recommendation 10 of R-164.
R-164.
The Article 16 says it is the employer should ensure workplace machinery, equipment, and processes are safe for the workers. Yes. And recommendation 10 of R-164 clearly mentioned that the employer should provide safe plant and equipment to the workers. Yes. And apart from this, ILO's conventions and recommendations, there is also a specific regulation related to work equipment, which is power, P-U-W-E-R, power regulation. P stands for provision, U stands for usage, W stands for work, E stands for equipment, R stands for regulation. So in UK, apart from ILO's conventions or internationally, they have to also comply with this power regulation as well. Okay. So now let us see what are the basic requirements of work equipment in the workplace, power regulation. Okay. So basic requirements, general requirements of work equipment. The first thing that you should consider when you are selecting an equipment is whether the equipment is suitable for the task. The first question that you need to ask when selecting the equipment is whether the equipment is suitable for that particular task or not. For example, the task is to drill a hole in a wall. So instead of using a portable drilling machine, you are bringing a jackhammer. Do you think that is suitable for the task?
No, sir.
No.
Or let us suppose, leave about a bigger equipment, a small equipment. I hope you know that in this, generally electrical equipment, you have small screws, right? Star screws. You have small screws. Yes. Task
Yes,
is
sir.
very simple. The screw is very small. But if you are selecting a bigger screwdriver, Can you be able to use that for completing this task?
No, it's totally useless.
What does this mean? Whether it might be any task, if you are not selecting the right equipment for the job, that will increase the risk and it is useless. So the first thing that you should consider or you should ask is whether the equipment that I am selecting, will it be suitable for the task or for that particular job or not? That is the first question that should come in our mind. Okay. And the second question that you have to check is whether the equipment is suitable for the environment. Particularly, you should consider this for electrical equipment or any equipment that can produce sparks. Means if there is a flammable environment or atmosphere, can you use any equipment which creates a spark?
No, sir.
No. Why?
No.
Because if you are using an equipment which produces
Catches
sparks
fire.
or which generates heat, there could result in fire accident in flammable atmosphere. So that is one thing. So whether the equipment is suitable for the task, whether the equipment is environment, suitable for the environment. Third one is whether the equipment is CE marked. To confirm the quality of the product. Generally in India, we have ISI mark, Indian Standards Institute. But globally, the best quality standards which most of the companies accept is CE, European standards, which certifies the quality of a particular product. European standards are top notch. That is why most of the companies prefer CE mark on it. And apart from that, one of the responsibility of the manufacturer is the manufacturer should provide a written declaration to the purchaser. Written declaration to the purchaser about the conformity of the product. Means I already told you, even the manufacturers who are manufacturing a product, they should also manufacture them as per the regulations. So the manufacturer should provide a written declaration about was signing it and confirming that this product has been manufactured as per the legal requirement. So that should be provided. And also the manufacturer should also provide information about the hazards and risks associated with the equipment as well as the controls, basic control measures that are required or emergency procedures or how to operate it. This information should also be provided by the manufacturer. Am I clear? And
Yes, sir.
once you are selecting the right equipment for the job, before you give this
Yes, sir.
equipment to the workers to do it, to use it. So it is the responsibility of an employer to prevent access to the dangerous parts of the machine. How we can do that? By installing guards on the dangerous parts, by installing guards or trip devices such as sensors. So it is the responsibility of an employer to cover the dangerous parts of the machinery so that workers will not come into contact with them. And should I allow the equipment to be used by everybody or only by trained people?
Only by the trained people.
Only by
Provide
trained people.
10 people, only 10.
training to the workers on how to operate the equipment and also allowed to be used only by trained people. Okay, that is one thing. And the equipment should be regularly inspected. Okay, work equipment should be regularly inspected and regular maintenance of the equipment as well. Maintenance of the equipment. So we already discussed the frequency of inspection in our element 4. So you can consider those factors: regularly inspected and regular maintenance of the equipment. Depending on the type of the work, how many hours this work equipment is being used, who is using it, in what environmental conditions, whether it is being abused or not, these factors. And when it comes to maintenance, so generally there are 3 types of maintenance strategies. One is called as planned preventive maintenance. Planned preventive maintenance, condition based maintenance, and breakdown maintenance. So these are the 3 types of maintenance strategies. Planned preventive maintenance means though the equipment is in good condition, though the equipment is running in good condition, but still we go for a maintenance. For example, if you are purchasing an equipment, and the manufacturer says once in every 6 months it should be taken for maintenance. So though it is in good condition, as the manufacturer is saying, we will go for a maintenance. That is called as planned preventive maintenance. Manufacturer's instructions or legal requirement. So good condition, but still you go for maintenance as per the requirement. So that is planned preventive maintenance. Condition-based maintenance means when the inspection suggests the condition of the equipment, is worn out, is not good, then you go for the maintenance. That is called as condition-based maintenance. Okay. Last, breakdown maintenance. So equipment is faulty or equipment does not start. Then you go for the maintenance. That is called as breakdown maintenance. Am I clear? Planned preventive maintenance,
Yeah.
condition maintenance, and
Clear.
breakdown maintenance. And even this maintenance or inspection and everything, whatever it is, this should be carried out only by trained people or everybody?
No, trained people only.
All of
Yes. Even the inspection and maintenance should also be carried out by trained persons or only by competent persons. Okay. That is one thing that you have to do. And make sure the equipment is fitted. The equipment is fitted with emergency stop buttons and warning signs. Means if there is any overloading, then these warning signs can help the person to warn about any dangerous conditions. And there should be sufficient space. There should be sufficient space around the equipment so that the workers can work comfortably, and there should be adequate lighting around the workplace. So that is also one of the requirement, or you can say as a general requirement. And now when you are operating the equipment, if it is moving when you are operating it, will the risk increase or reduce?
increased.
Increase.
The equipment should be stable when it is being operated. Now, one more point I can include it here. When there are emergency stop and start controls, make sure they are, emergency controls especially, they should be easily visible to the worker so that they can see and stop the machine if it is unsafe, and easily accessible. Worker should be able to reach to it without any difficulty. So that is also one more thing. Equipment should be stable when it is being operated, and properly installed. That is one thing. And it is responsibility of the workers, responsibility. Use only the equipment which they are authorized and use it properly as per the instructions provided. Report any defects. Do not tamper the equipment. Do not tamper it or damage it. Do not misuse the equipment. Or can do one thing. Do not use it. Do not use it under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Okay. So all these are the workers' responsibilities. And one more thing, keep all the equipment neat and clean. Equipment should be kept neat and clean by the worker and returned to its designated. Means the equipment, once you are taking it from the storeroom to come for a task, you bring the equipment, you use it. Once the task is completed, you clean the equipment and return the equipment back to its place. Okay, safely. That is one thing. And the employer, the organization should develop safe systems of work, or if it is a high risk activity, make sure there is a proper permit to work system. Install signboards, or the equipment should also have labels, instructions, labels. Only authorized people, do not overload, switch it off. So these labels should also be installed on the equipment. And what else can be done? And information, instruction, and training is there. And proper supervision of work practices to make sure that the workers are using the equipment safely or not. And there should be procedures for reporting defects in the equipment. And one more worker's responsibility I forgot to mention here. And if the equipment is unsafe, should the worker use it or should the worker stop using it?
Stop using it.
Stop using.
Because it is one of the workers' right? Do not use the equipment if it is unsafe. Okay. So these are the precautions or the general requirements, and make sure you are providing suitable PPE. Suitable PPE to the workers, depending on the type of the equipment as well as the hazards associated with it. Because if you're using a drilling machine, the hazards are dust, noise, and vibration. So what PPE you should provide? You should provide gloves, goggles, earmuffs, and respirator. Same way if you're using some other machinery, such as
Yes, sir.
scissor or
Yes,
a
sir.
knife or something, you should provide chainmail gloves. So depending on the type of the machinery or the hazards associated with it, it is a responsibility of an employer to provide PPE. Okay. So all these are the general requirements of work equipment. Selecting, using, inspection, maintenance, and controlling the work equipment or hazards associated with this equipment. So these are the general
Proper.
requirements of work equipment. Are we clear or do you have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir. I think proper.
Yes.
Right. So we'll stop it here for today, and
Yeah.
tomorrow we'll complete element 9. And if time permits, we'll start element. Element 9 is very small. I think within the first hour as tomorrow, you'll be able to complete it. And I'm going to share you the second scenario tomorrow. Because Sunday we are not having a class. So you can use this Sunday to complete the second scenario. But this time you'll not be getting feedback, but I'll be sharing the expected answers. What answers you are expected to write for these questions, so that you can make a comparison with your answers and correct what mistakes you have made in the second scenario. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Abdul Samad. Absent. Abdullah.
Yes, sir.
Anshul present. Arman Ali present. Sriram
Yes, sir.
present.
Present,
Boris.
sir. Yes, sir.
Boris. Boris is absent. Huh? Danish present. Fairuji.
Present, sir. Present.
Irfan present. Tikamar. Kaifi present. Sajid present. Adil. Adil
Adil present, sir.
Ali Mujtaba. Ali Mujtaba. Zahir present. Akib present. Javed present. Belis. Belis.
Oh,
Belis is not there. Jaromir.
Present.
Okay. Present. Norma. Absent. Patrick present. Prince present. Asha
Present, sir.
Taha.
yes, sir. Present.
Limbu. Torna Kumar Limbu. Muhammadullah.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Iyas.
Yes, present.
Brahma Teja Jajula present. Right, guys. So that's it for today. Stay safe, eat healthy. We'll meet tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.
See you tomorrow, sir.
Good night, sir.
Night. Night.
Good night, sir.
Night.